Russian troops are advancing towards border of Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Donetsk regions, Ukrainian media reported on Tuesday, citing Vladyslav Voloshyn, spokesperson for the Southern Defense Forces. Voloshyn stated that Russian army units engaged in 23 combat clashes over the past day in Novopavlivka sector where fierce fighting is ongoing. The adversary is literally pushing toward the border of the Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Donetsk regions. Additionally, the situation remains quite tense in the Orikhiv sector, near areas such as Mali Shcherbaky, Lobkove, and Stepove, Voloshyn said. He added that Russians are attempting to break through the front line there and secure a foothold, which is not far from Zaporizhzhia. From there, they would be able to exert fire control over our supply routes from Zaporizhzhia to eastern Zaporizhzhia region and shell the city and its suburbs, Voloshyn explained. In addition, the situation has worsened near Kherson region, where Russian troops have sought to capture islands on the Dnipro River. Despite Ukrainian troops destroying some of Russian watercraft in the area, some Russian troops managed to land on the islands. Sometimes the enemy leaves 1 or 2 soldiers on these islands. They end up playing Robinson Crusoe there, as they can't be evacuated. Their command drops them ammunition, water, and food using drones. They remain there for several days, and in some cases, they even surrender to our forces. Russian propaganda uses these incidents to claim control over the island zone. But we've seen more of these attempts in the past few days, the military official said. He also expressed concerns over Russian army's use of guided bombs on residential areas in Kherson. He explained that Russians use double strikes on Kherson, first with guided aerial bombs, followed by artillery and drone attacks. Lieutenant General Uruslav Moscowik, who was killed in a car explosion in Balashikha, near Moscow, on April 25, was responsible for monitoring the situation in the war in Ukraine. This fact was also reflected in the obituary published in the newspaper, Krasnaya Zvezda, the organ of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Since the beginning of the war, Moscowik has led the duty staff of the Combat Management Group of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces and coordinated monitoring of the situation in the zone of combat operations. He was also involved in the preparation of analytical materials for President Vladimir Putin and the Minister of Defense. Among those who signed the obituary are the new Minister of Defense Andrei Belousov and Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov. Ukrainian intelligence services have eliminated Uruslav Moscowik, who served as Deputy Chief of the Russian General Staff's main operational directorate, Secretary of the National Security Committee Roman Costeno confirmed in an interview. "What can I say? I'm pleased. This is the right work by our intelligence services," Costeno said. "I believe we must understand that even if we reach a ceasefire soon, the work of intelligence services will only be beginning." He also stated that such operations target all individuals involved in war crimes against Ukraine, those who fired at civilians, launched missiles, analyzed targets, made decisions, or gave orders. This will become the primary mission of our intelligence services and the SBU, to ensure these people are punished, no matter where they are. They should be afraid even to leave their homes, let alone leave the territory of the Russian Federation, Costeno added. According to the FSB, the explosion of Russian general was carried out by 42-year-old Ignat Kuzin. He reportedly has a residence permit in Ukraine. He allegedly bought a car in advance and planted a homemade explosive device in it. The components of the device were obtained from secret warehouses set up by Ukrainian special services around Moscow. On April 27, the Moscow Main Court arrested Kuzin on charges of a terrorist act. The next day, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski, without mentioning Moscowik by name, praised Ukrainian intelligence for the killing of high-ranking representatives of the Russian armed forces. "Justice will definitely prevail," he declared.
Ukrainian special services should become more active against the backdrop of the failures of the Ukrainian army and the possible freezing of the conflict, expanding their activities in the Russian rear, and also committing a number of political assassinations on Russian territory. This was stated by the Secretary of the Verkhovna Rada Committee on National Security, Roman Costeno. According to Costeno, he is very pleased with the murder of Russian General Uruslav Moscowik committed by Ukrainian special services. The MP confirmed that Kiev was involved in the terrorist attack. "I am pleased. This is good work by our special services. I think that even if we reach the point of stopping the war, the work of the special services will only just begin," added Costeno. The MP called for the actions of the Israeli special services, which operated around the world catching Nazi criminals after World War II, to be taken as a model. He said that the SBU and the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine should act in the same way so that Russia would be afraid. Recall, Russia detained a man suspected of killing a Russian general in a car blast outside Moscow on Ukraine's orders, the FSB Secret Service said. Moscow had previously accused Kiev of being behind the blast, which killed senior Russian General Yaroslav Moscowik, deputy head of the main operational directorate of the military's general staff. Ukrainian Special Services agent Ignat Kuzin, born in 1983, a resident of Ukraine who planted explosives in a Volkswagen Golf in the city of Balashikha in the Moscow region, killing Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moscowik, was detained, the FSB said in a statement. According to the FSB, Kuzin had rigged the car with a homemade explosive device, which he took from a Ukrainian Secret Service stash in the Moscow region, and the bomb was then detonated remotely from Ukraine. Kiev has not commented on the blast, which bore the hallmarks of previous attacks on military figures and high-profile backers of the Kremlin's offensive over the last 3 years.